Hey, Barry here. I wanted to make a video today about the truth about friction pegs. Tuning pegs, actually. I got a call the other day from a potential customer, and she was concerned that she had read everything under the sun that friction pegs were no good, they didn't hold, they were just bad, stay away from them. And that was that. I said, "Where'd you get that?" She said, "Oh, I heard it on the internet. People have told me they aren't any good. You need geared pegs." Well, I've been using friction pegs, violin friction pegs, on every instrument that I've made. And I wanted to share a few things about the friction pegs. I think the truth here is that mechanical or geared pegs and friction pegs can all work, and they all can't work. I've had geared pegs on instruments that were horrible, that didn't keep an instrument in tune, and I've had geared pegs that worked. I've also had violin pegs, which is what I use on my instruments, work and not work. I think it really depends on the person that's making the instrument. I think a little bit of knowledge about how violin pegs actually work, because I'm referring to my instruments now. I'm not referring to anybody else's instruments. I'm just referring to how I build my instruments using violin pegs. First thing that you have to understand is when I get my violin pegs, they are not ready to use. If you look at this illustration here, you can see that on the outside here there's a bulge in the peg itself. That's how I get them when they're sent to me. And in order for them to be able to use them correctly, they have to be shaved. And so, I mean, you just can't drill a hole in the instrument and then take the peg and stick it up in there and expect it to work. That's not going to happen. I've got a tool here that is a violin maker's tool, and it's actually called a peg shaver. And it kind of works on the basis of a sort of a pencil sharpener, really. It shaves the violin peg so the sides are straight. So when you look at this, you see the white area is now straight. The black area on either side is shaved away, so you have a straight taper on the peg. Now, after that's taken care of, I also have a reamer that this is a peg reamer, and the taper on this reamer is the same as the taper on the peg head shaver, or the peg shaver. The angles match, so what you end up with is a perfect snug fit. So once that's done, the last thing I do, there is a compound that I put on, and it's made for violins. There's a compound that I put on the peg itself that actually makes the tuner itself as smooth as glass, the operation as smooth as glass. So when you're done, there's absolutely no reason those pegs should not work correctly. And I tell people when they ask me about the friction tuners, I said, there's a reason that they put violin friction tuners on violins that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. If they didn't work, they wouldn't put them on there. Even the violins that have the micro tuners, the little twist tuners on the end near the tailpiece, if the pegs on the other end didn't hold, then those wouldn't do you any good. So, I personally think that the fact that people say that friction tuners don't work is a lot of nonsense. Now, the other thing, the reason I use violin tuners is not only that I think they look really cool, but it keeps the cost of my instruments down. Where if I put on mechanical tuners, I mean, especially a set of 5-string banjo tuners, you're adding another $100 to the instrument. Some people may not want to do that. My instruments are sort of traditional anyway, so I don't really want to put high dollar machine chrome sort of tuners on my instruments. So anyway, that's just a little bit of information I wanted to share. Again, you can get good ones, you get bad ones, but I really believe that it's the person making the instrument. If they know what they're doing, and I've researched this, if they know what they're doing, those pegs will work absolutely flawless, and you shouldn't have a bit of trouble. And I appreciate you watching. Thanks.